Good evening and welcome to the Week in Review. This week was certainly a busy one as Nigerians woke up Wednesday morning to receive the shocking news on the return of 104 out of 110 girls kidnapped in Dapchi, Yobe State, while here in Anambra, Governor Obiano forms cabinet to achieve his vision and mission for the state. And certainly a very busy and uncertain one for Facebook. These and more on our package tonight. I am David Obokwasale, your uncle.
Makendo maybe Anambra State, Anambra State, Kwadoro, maybe Umake. In the police, na police commissioner never. Kwadoro, wherever you kick it, so in a Gumo Solu, what's on his Solu? Oh, no, to unlock it. Njago Betina, Panakbar, how can case on his Solu?
We begin here in the state where the State House of Assembly confirmed a list of 19 commissioners to join the state government, and in line with keeping with the promise of hitting the ground running, in an executive retreat for all new appointees commenced immediately. Government House correspondent Keneshko Former brings us the details of the retreat.
It saw various resource persons, notable of whom were former governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and renowned financial expert Bismarck Rewane, take participants through various aspects of the vision of the present administration and sharpen their instinct for excellence. Declaring the retreat open, Governor Obiano said his government places high premium on the event, as it was designed to put the government appointees in the right frame of mind to be able to contribute meaningfully towards the success of his government. He announced the confirmed members of the Executive Council, whom he described as capable individuals selected on merit, revealing that some of the state ministries have been rejigged, while new ones have been introduced to accommodate very salient aspects of the state economy and make for improved impact. The governor, while rolling out his administration's target for the next 4 years, pointed out that there will be no room to entertain impossibilities and called on the appointees to imbibe a clear understanding of his administration's economic blueprint.
It's an opportunity to know how your boss works, the expectations he will be expecting from you, and the do's and don'ts. The victory 21/21 is a resounding one, and what that tells you is they will also want to see a resounding performance. That is very important. And for us to get a resounding performance, we don't have to just assume that it will just come. We need to work for it. And in the process, most of us will get to heaven. Some may fall by the wayside, but we'll get there.
Earlier in an overview, the secretary to the state government, Professor Solochukwu Lobelu, recalled how the first-term retreat was instrumental to the success of the Obiano administration in the last 4 years, noting that it is expected that at the end of the two-day event, the participants would have been fully energized and motivated with a clear knowledge of the direction the present administration is headed and be able to play the expected role.
We are very grateful that you have assembled us, those that are coming in from the first tenure and those that are coming in newly. Will have to very quickly blend and begin to synergize effectively.
The head of the state think tank, Mr. Mark Atasie, while giving a brief on the session's objectives, said the first day will witness contest setting and immersion to position the mindset of the participants for work, as well as setting of agenda, while they too will witness mapping out of plans and strategies for the actualization of set goals.
It is expected that with the retreat coming barely 1 week after the inauguration of Governor Willie Obiano for a second term in office, it will help set the tone for what promises to be another 4 years of transformation and development in Anambra State. In Oka, I am Keneshko Former, reporting for ABS News.
And just like Keneshko said, in setting the tone, barely 48 hours after his inauguration, Governor Willie Obiano Monday sworn in 4 of his principal officers at the seat of the government in Oka. The report.
Governor Willie Obiano has sworn in 4 principal officers of his administration. Among the principal officers were the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Solochukwu Lobelo, and the Principal Secretary to the Governor, Sir Willie Nwokoye, who were both retained, as well as Mr. Primus Odele, who replaced Professor Joe Asike as Chief of Staff to the Governor. Former Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Media, Chief James Eze, was also sworn in as the Chief Press Secretary. Performing the swearing in, Governor Obiano reminded the principal officers of the need to be dedicated in their duties to ensure that they contribute meaningfully to the success of his government. He noted that the task ahead is enormous, but his government is focused, urging the new appointees to bring their wealth of experience to bear in their respective beats.
A serious assignment. I would like you to give it your best. It's an assignment that will require a lot of hard work and integrity. Emphasis on that. So I will expect yourselves to live up to God. I will not hesitate to do the needful if I think you guys are not living to expectation. So I expect you guys to do well.
Responding on behalf of the appointees, the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Chukwu Lobelo, thanked the Governor for the honor given them to serve the state and promised that they will not disappoint him.
I would like to pledge absolute 100% loyalty to you and dedication to this work. I'm very encouraged that in the first administration, in the first term, we have worked very cooperatively. The 4 of us have, in various ways, worked together. And I can assure you that that team spirit will continue to exist. You will not see any rancor between the 4 of us. We will work together and we'll share ideas. We will try to anticipate problems before they arise so that we can solve them. Only the exceptions will bring to your attention.
Governor Obiano had earlier taken salute from a guard of honor mounted for him by men of the Nigeria Police Force as he formally assumes office as Governor of Anambra State for a second term. From the Government House in Oka, I am Kene Chukwuofoma reporting for ABS News.
The week was also a strategic one for farmers in the state under the federal government IFAD Value Chain Development Project as they move closer to achieving total success in the agricultural sector. Agriculture correspondent Ebeleze has a report.
Multi-million naira cassava processing facility with water borehole constructed by the federal government IFAD Value Chain Development Program for Namaka Multi-Purpose Cooperative Society Umezanam in Anambra West local government area has been inaugurated for use. The inauguration, which was part of activities lined up for the field tour embarked upon by the federal government IFAD Value Chain Development Program midterm review team, attracted farmers and stakeholders in the agricultural sector from within and outside the community. Performing the ceremony, the Transition Committee Chairman for Anambra West local government area, Mr. Tony Collins Nwabunwanne, said the project has direct and numerous positive impact on the rural populace. Mr. Nwabunwanne, while assuring total security and maintenance of the facility as the council has taken full ownership of it, appealed for the expansion of the nearby market to accommodate more people.
There are more potentials there. We have a very massive lands there, and we have more of cassava, more of yam, and all that around the areas. And big markets too, where most of these things can play a major role.
The team leader, Federal Government IFAD Value Chain Development Program Midterm Review Mission, Professor Jones Lemchi, charged members of Namaka Multi-Purpose Cooperative Society to use the proceeds from the processing plant and diversify into their business to achieve the aims and objectives of the program.
If I never can if I the worldwide, and I home a rural immobile. And it's okay, I okay, boss. More for that, I will go to any quick and I already here, no, but I don't try or they can win. Or they can never get it. But then, on no Kuyuga, never going to do how I will get as their point of developmental intervention.
On her part, the chairperson of Namaka Multipurpose Cooperative Society, Umezanam, Mrs. Theresa Obi, who testified that the project has positively transformed their lives as they have already commenced the construction of a relaxation center with the proceeds from the project, commended the federal government IFAD VCDP for coming to their aid.
Very happy. No possible. Just 3 miles. No, I know why when they cooperative. The job can do by the platform in Anambra. I will get 10 tons, 10 tons.
In a remark, the state project coordinator, IFAD Value Chain Development Program, Mr. Namda Wuncha said, as the program emphasizes women participation, the enrollment of women in the specification, while governments and communities are integrated and collaborated in all road activities to ensure sustainability. High points of the tour were the official commissioning of a multi-million naira market infrastructure with VIP toilets and taking of ownership by members of IFAD Value Chain Development Program farmers at Mmiata Anam, Anambra West Local Government Area. From Mmiata Anam, I am Ebele Eze, reporting for ABS News.
And months after a fake Kiwi Polish warehouse was busted and series of litigations instituted to stop the confiscation and destruction of the products, an Oka High Court has finally laid the matter to rest and ordered its destruction. Kenneth Kwofoma is here with the report.
A large quantity of fake Kiwi polish, worth about 30 million naira, has been destroyed following an order of an Oka High Court presided over by Justice Ayu Ndigwe. The fake products, which were loaded in 2 trailer lorries, were burnt in the outskirts of Oka. The fake polish had information on them revealing that they were manufactured in France and had already scaled through the ports and customs checks and arrived at an underground warehouse in Marine Line, Main Market, Onitsha. Working on a tip-off, the police and the company with the franchise for the product in Nigeria, ASCO Investment Limited, had confiscated the product, after which the alleged importers went to court to challenge the confiscation. After a legal battle, the court upheld an agreement reached out of court by both parties that the products be destroyed, and the exercise was supervised by the police and officials of the manufacturing company, SC Johnson. Speaking during the exercise, the manufacturing company's managing director in charge of West African region, Mr. Ogale Lueni, observed with regret how regulatory agencies frustrate the efforts of manufacturers by refusing to act when complaints against substandard products are brought against them.
Ultimately robbing the Nigerian consumer. So today I'm very proud to be part of this work. It is very tedious and very hard work. We want to say thank you for what you are doing. Because for us in SC Johnson, the quality, we are a reputable company that makes sure our products stand for a certain quality for the Nigerian consumer, for the consumers around the world. And you are helping us protect that.
The owner of the franchise to import the products in Nigeria, Chief Sam Anyamutaku, harped on the need for relevant authorities to intensify the war against piracy, copyright violation and adulteration of products, noting that the harm such illegality had caused Nigerians is enormous.
Says that we are telling those criminals that fake Kiwi products that their days are numbered. So we are here to let the consumer know that we are ready to protect them and to protect this product.
He stressed that he will continue to fight the illegality until the market is completely rid of fake Kiwi polish, and assured patronizers of the products of the company's commitment to give them value for their money, explaining the difference between the fake product and the original. One of the lawyers engaged by the manufacturing company, Barrister Chris Ekemezie, observed that the exercise will help deter others who are into such illegal businesses to refrain from such.
So you can look at the cartons, the bigger ones. You find out that they are not branded. Those things are sealed in. And in most cases, when they bring them in, they bring them with some other products. And they pretend to deceive the authorities. But the real people are the criminals who have the mind to manufacture those things, those standard products outside the country. Deceive the authorities and bring them into the country to sell to everybody.
In Oka, I am Kene Chukwuofoma, reporting for ABS News.
More stories to come your way after this break. You're welcome back to the program. In a bid to key into the state government's now fifth pillar of development, the creative economy, Anambra Broadcasting Service on Wednesday took the bull by the horn and flagged off the first film academy in the Southeast geopolitical zone. 30 intakes became pioneer students of the academy. The report.
The opening ceremony took place at the academy at the ABS corporate headquarters, Oka. ABS Film Academy is a 3-month course where students are taught professional film editing, script writing, broadcast journalism, among others. Declaring the academy open, the rector of the academy and the managing director of the ABS, Nze Uchenwora, said the academy is in line with Governor Obiano's interest in promoting creative economy, which he added to his blueprint as part of his second-term development agenda. Nze said students are admitted with a token amount since Governor Obiano has subsidized the fee to make it affordable for Anambra, urging the pioneer students to take the opportunity given them since it is the first in the Southeast zone.
Officially welcome everybody to ABS Film Academy. I don't think there is a better place or a better organization that you can come for your training. Because in this organization we have award-winning broadcasters. So please, feel free to tap on their skills and knowledge.
In their various goodwill messages, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. James Eze, a member of ABS Board of Management, Mr. Marcel Manafa, and a renowned Nollywood actor, Mr. Bob Manuel Udoku, encouraged the pioneer students to be humble and diligent, believe in themselves, saying that the future belongs to those who tell their stories in motion. They said that Anambra is bestowed with people who are talented in creativity, and with the present administration in the state will experience a paradigm in development, commending the ABS boss for impacting and changing the ABS.
There are so many writers, so many people that work with their imagination here. Nollywood began here, and one of the pillars of Nollywood is here. Saying goes, great minds think alike. There is the governor thinking about giving a home to Nollywood, and here is Uchenwora thinking about a film academy that will empower the next generation for the industry. So mine is not to tell you how hard or how easy it is, but to encourage you. I went to study theaters when most people were running away, and people still do that. But today I can tell you the jam score and university cutoff for theaters all over Nigeria is much more higher now than what it used to be when we were there.
Also speaking, the managing director, Rockland Developers, Mr. Obi Ene, and Mike Meze urged them to aspire to be the best in all and reminded them of the need to explore animation, as they would want a situation where there will be outstanding graduates that will be making waves world over.
I want to welcome all of you and congratulate all of you who will be participants in this Film Academy project. If you take it very seriously, which is what I expect you to do, it will actually mark the beginning of a whole new chapter in your lives.
Speaking, the Director, News and Current Affairs Department of the ABS, Mr. Gabo Baleze, expressed joy that the Academy has a lot of students who want to specialize in broadcast journalism, saying that the Academy has brought about a lot of commendations from Anambra, promising that the station will give their best to ensure that the students are well equipped. In Oka, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
And now we move to our focus story for the week. After 1 month of bickerings, acquisitions, and counter-acquisitions, 104 of the 110 of the girls abducted at the Girls Government College, Dapchi, Yobe State, were returned to the community by terror group Boko Haram early Wednesday amidst cheers and banters. The girls were kidnapped February 19, 2018. Of the 110 girls earlier kidnapped, 5 were returned dead, while one, Lee Churaibu, has not returned home. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed had in a press conference immediately after the Federal Executive Council meeting, where he and his colleagues were immediately sent to Yobe State, told newsmen that the girls were not released over a ransom. However, subsequent unconfirmed reports showed that over €5 million and release of Boko Haram prisoners was the cost for the girls. Controversy had trailed the alleged withdrawal of soldiers deployed to Dapchi a few days before the abduction, with the military claiming to have handed over the security of the town back to the police. Reports from Dapchi also had it that security personnel were drawn from the Yobe community ahead of the return of the girls, a report that triggered negative reactions from major stakeholders and political analysts. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday hosted the girls to a sumptuous dinner at the State House, at which occasion he stated that he will deal with the security chiefs if another abduction happens, and granted unconditional amnesty to Boko Haram insurgents. The president assured the girls of their safety and that efforts are on to also rescue the remaining Chibok girls and other Nigerians in captivity. He appealed to the Chibok community never to lose hope or to despair. The delighted president formally announced that 105 Dapchi schoolgirls and 2 others previously abducted by the insurgents were unconditionally released by the abductors. He noted that the development, which he described as cheering and hearty, signifies the commitment of his administration to the security and well-being of all Nigerians. President Buhari further recalled his visit to Yobe State last week, during which he sympathized with the parents, families, and people of the state on the tragic abduction of the students in Dapchi. Just like we told you, this will be our focus for the week. When we come back from the break, we'll bring in a guest who will react to some of these issues and more. Stay back.
It's like disarming the frontliners, the vanguard of the society, those that make the society kind of peaceful and less threatened. So if you ask them to down arms, it means an open invitation to chaos.
Welcome back. Like we said, we'll be looking at the federal government's handling of the Dapchi girls' abduction. This topic remains paramount for our society and our collective bargain as a country. We have in the studio reputable journalists, social media influencer, a writer, a public relations expert, and a mobilizer, Mr. Abuchi Onwumelo. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program. The week was hot. We woke up on a Wednesday morning and we saw that the Dapchi girls have been returned amidst security that was withdrawn. I don't know, what's your reaction to this?
Actually, I first of all have to commend the federal government of Nigeria for quick response in bringing back the abducted Dapchi girls. First of all, before anything you do, look at the timing. You look at the clamor for the release of the girls. Then they responded, or they exceeded our expectations. Okay. Yes. So that's is a right move in the right direction, and I think I have to give them kudos for that.
Okay, now the president granted unconditional amnesty to Boko Haram insurgents. His target is to use it as a ground to help handle the issue in Northeast. Do you think this approach is appropriate at this point?
I think I quite agree with the federal government proposal. I've equally advocated for amnesty in the past. In some forums, I've actually given opportunity to talk. I said that when you have a stubborn child, let's take our family for example. When you have a stubborn child, asking for something, when after looking at the pros and cons, you may decide to say, okay, I'm giving this to you to say if you can appease that person. And it's only when after extending that hand of fellowship, if the person is not reciprocating, that is where you can now apply force. So I think the idea of granting amnesty to the insurgents, I don't think it will affect the Nigerian nation adversely. Rather, it will bring about the needed peace.
You know, this is not the first time we are trying amnesty. We tried it in Niger Delta, and still we had Niger Delta Avengers coming up again. Do you think this amnesty is the final solution?
To me, I will equally add that there is serious need for dialogue. Okay. Why you are offering them amnesty? There should be a serious rehabilitation center.
Okay.
It is not enough to say you are offering amnesty, doling out money, and the money will end up entering into private pockets. That is not what we're talking about. In what played out in Niger Delta, a whole lot of politicians enriched themselves. They siphoned the money meant for rehabilitating the militants, and that's not what we're talking about. I would like to urge the federal government, why they are setting up a committee for amnesty, or why they are bringing up the idea, they should equally bring up a committee, or even the president himself should take it upon himself to ensure that whatever money, whatever penny that is released should be properly and judicially utilized.
Okay, do you think the federal government was true to us when it said that these girls were released unconditionally, with the contradictory reports we are getting that some of these girls, or the girls, were the money that was paid was ranging to 5 million euros? Do you think the federal government was true to the point? Do you think that approach will help address this issue of insurgency in the country?
It will go a long way, but my kind of person, I don't believe in speculation.
Okay.
Okay, if you tell me the government had or actually money exchange hands in bringing about bringing in the girls, you have to prove it beyond telling me that a certain amount. I have gone through the report. There's no concrete evidence to prove that federal government actually made or discussed with the Boko Haram members in order to get the girls back.
Do you think the Boko Haram members could have released these girls? Are there charity organizations?
There must be an underground work, which it may be way beyond both of us. Okay, because if you look at what is happening in the country today, if you really want to get things right, you don't use force. We are not brute. We are not animals. There's the way we are animals with sense. If you apply caution, you find out that even the most notorious person will turn out to be a very good listener. Apply that carrot and stick approach and you get the right things done. I think that is what the federal government did at this time, because you may not know what transpired. So amnesty is a good bargain. They may just throw it. You people should give us those girls and we'll have you people rehabilitated, and you will have to look at your problems and solve it. So it is.
Okay, what lessons are we to draw from this particular situations vis-a-vis the Chibok girls?
The lessons is becoming a real current decimal, which I will actually want our security agencies to sit up. I will tell them this has happened in 2014 April precisely. The Chibok girls was abducted, and now we are talking about the Dapchi girls. Just check the gap between 2014 and 2018. So you see this, that people are using this as a kind of a bargain, either to get themselves properly fixed in the government or either to get money from the government. So that should be a remedy. That should be a lasting solution, which may not be far from having a watertight security. Because if you tell me as a security expert, you allow somebody to move in and to a school at that remote village, pick up girls and move without the police people, without the army people, without the civil defense people, and even without the road safety officials getting to know how and when these girls were moved away from the school, I think it's really a slap to our country, Nigeria. And I equally want to tell them, is either you sit up, you get fired. Even the presidency, the box lies on his table. People are blaming him of asking him of not handling the issue of Chibok girls. But that blames should be directly to the heads, those people in charge of security apparatus of this country. They should live up to expectation.
The president is the commander-in-chief.
He is the commander-in-chief, but in most cases, you find out that some people may not be actually really doing their job. There is time for serious and continuous monitoring. You go on monitoring basis, and while making some of these appointments, let's look at antecedent. Let's look at people who man the job, whose duty is to be alert every now and then to ensure that the life and property of the country, of the citizenry, are quite secured.
Okay, if you are to be the national security advisor to the president, what will be your one advice? Amidst other things you have, what will be your first
advice?
Yes, to the president on this issue.
I thank you. It's just about having the square peg in square hole.
Okay.
All those things we are talking about is, let's forget about nepotism. Let's do away with favoritism. I have to tell him openly, Mr. President, it's time you get the very best. Now, let me give you an example in what is happening. If you really want to catch a criminal, you get a criminal-minded person to man the security post, and you see the problem half solved.
Okay.
You know, in communities, if you want to appoint a person, somebody who will work passionately just to do his job, you need to give the person the needed support. And you don't need to be biased about your appointment. I have to tell the president, we have so many gurus in security industry. We have so many experts. Those people who have traveled out, who have seen the war, who have witnessed it, who have gone to so many seminars, they are there. But why you make appointments solely because David is from my hometown, David is from my own local government, look, David is from my side of our zone. This, where I make that, living out using mediocrity in place of having a strong and well experienced security personnel in scheme of affairs. If I continue to do that, things like this will keep continue happening, because already most Nigerians no longer have faith on the Nigerian security, and I must concede to that. But definitely, if we can start now to begin to plug those loopholes, I think we're heading to the right direction.
Do you think it's time to reform our security system and maybe send the security chiefs presently home? Do you think it would be appropriate to address this issue of security in our country?
I think issue of addressing security issue has been on the front burner for years now.
Okay.
Let's leave out Buhari's administration.
Okay.
It's been a recurring issue, and things that has even gone beyond our imagination. You see a lot of things happening and you keep wondering, where are the security people? So I think what is needed is having these police or security people trained, provide them with the needed support, provide them with the sophisticated weapons, the 21st century sophisticated weapons that every reasonable world, every developed countries are using at this moment. You need to provide them with gadgets. You need to equip them. You need to train them. Training and retraining will go a long way in curbing some of these issues. If you ask me, in countries like Israel, that are known for provision of arms and so that, you see them getting to research continually, not just because they are known for arms provisions and security. They are still going in for research. But here in Nigeria, once you are appointed in a position of authority, the person will feel relaxed. I'm here, the commissioner of police, for example. I'm a general. I don't think I need any other further courses, refresher courses. I don't think I need it. But it is very, very cogent. It is very, very okay, because when you go out for a refresher course, when you go out for training, you will come back to know what is happening in other modern wars, and you impart them in your officers. That is what we're talking about. Give me the opportunity to go out and meet with other people and get things done in this country.
Thank you, Mr. Dapchi Onwumelo. We've been talking to social media commentator, social media influencer, public relations analyst, experts, public affairs analyst, and several lots, a reputable journalist. Thank you for speaking to us and airing your views on the solutions we are to adopt for this country. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We move on now to the international scene, where it has been a very hot week for Facebook. Who is being accused of complicity in the Cambridge Analytica's harvesting of data of Facebook users ahead of the 2016 presidential elections in the United States. Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg finally broke his silence, posting an explanation online and giving interviews to some news organizations. Zuckerberg said in a statement on his Facebook page that they owe their users responsibility to protect their data. Over 50 million Facebook profiles were harvested by an app for data, which was then passed to Cambridge Analytica. In his first statement, Zuckerberg set out steps that the social network would take to avoid a repeat of the abuse and give people a better idea of how their data are being used. He said Facebook will investigate all apps that had access to large amounts of data and will audit apps with suspicious activities. And Facebook will implement a new tool of top of the news feed that will show the users which apps they are using and give them an easy way to revoke permissions to data. Indications are that an international outrage over the scandal has ensued, leading to many closing their Facebook profile, led by space scientist Elon Musk, who has closed his Facebook page. In fact, the story of Facebook has been a tough one, and we received the story this afternoon that Facebook CEO has lost $50 billion in Facebook due to this outrage. We'll move on now to our editorial for the day. Minister for Communication Dapchi at the commissioning of the Technology Orientation Center of the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure during the week called on the federal government to trace the innovators of the defunct Biafra who are still alive towards the innovations drive for industrialization. The minister regretted that the nation failed to take advantage of the great innovations propelled by the 3-year war, which ended in 1970, by making use of those he described as great minds that sustained the Biafran army. Now, let's talk about this. The first fact is that Dr. Chitu's call is paramount and should be heeded. We have so much receded in our innovations in science and technology. The second fact is that this call is better late than never. So we suggest the following as solutions. Government at all levels must set up at least one science village in their domain. If we have at least one science village in at least 200 of the 774 local government areas in the country, in less than 3 years, will be the home of science. Then, the second, it must not be a scrap center. That means large amounts of budgetary allocation should be awarded to sponsoring science and technology innovative researches. The private sector must lead in identifying new talents and comparative advantages to harness. Manufacturing companies should not just be for product manufacturing. They should also have viable research centers so as to encourage new engagements in their product line. And 4, all must invest in science and technical education. Media companies and content creators should begin to look into creating talent discovery TV shows in that direction as a way to set this agenda for our society. Thus, we'll be on our march to becoming a developed country. We'll bring you the photo of the week now. And that's how we call it a day on this week's edition of the Week in Review. On behalf of the team here, the producer, and everybody that made this edition of the program successful, I am David Obokwasile, your anchor. Thank you for joining us.